Well, we've got a lot to cover today.
We'll see if he's annoying warrior.
We've got skins, we've got living conquest changes, and of course we've got the grand Gilgamesh reveal. So let's just jump into it and start talking about some bonus balance that'll go live on April 6th. So some of the first bonus balance that we have.
Yeah, I didn't even look up those sources.
Nerf to Janus, specifically his threshold. Clumsy, could you tell us a little bit more about Janus's nerf?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we did a lot of Giannis changes. You know, finally gave him some buffs that I think he well deserved and needed. It definitely gave him some more power. It helped him out in the mid lane a lot. And while his win rate hasn't really rose that much from where he was historically on the bottom, we also know that his frustration definitely did go up, and a lot of that is in how mobile he is, especially with the larger map. So we wanted to touch upon threshold. It gives a lot of 30% movement speed at max rank.
Yeah, here's the thing. Janus is annoying as hell to try to capture.
Make it so you can catch up to him a little.
But that's also the fun of God. I don't think they needed to really touch his movement speed. Because I'm never like in game and like, oh, that Janus got away from me.
Yeah,
that good old threshold.
Definitely one of the stronger performer characters. We did adjustments and he kind of settled out, but over time we've seen him still excel a little bit too much. So we're taking some base damage off Dr. Moon Shuriken as well as the Kusari Gamma, just to make sure that when he goes to like gank you or when he goes to pressure you, it's a bit more fair in terms of the damage output he has.
I feel like Tsukuyomi needed that for like the longest.
I'm excited to see that in action. Have him stop ganking me. We've also got nerfs coming for Guanyu, which is another one that I'm excited about. What about that
Definitely
one?
Needed.
Do you know more about that?
Yeah, so we have the
if that got into the ground,
Guanyu, but also for the next character, we have some cooldown increases. Mainly, Guanyu is a character that has been really rising in the rank scene. The buff damage to Talu Assault was definitely something that
the hell out of Guan. Here, chocolate.
Is good for him as a character. So rather than removing that component, we want to just address some other areas of his kit where Conviction Warriors.
I'm about fed up with Guan's in my game.
Through gameplay, we're just gonna
Guanyu in the dirt. I'm all for that. He needs to be on the bench for a little while.
Just a hair.
Let some other warriors come out and have their fun.
And that leads into the Aphrodite nerf as well.
Yeah, I mean, Aphrodite, even though we did a lot of the anti-heal changes recently, she hasn't actually struggled, she hasn't moved down the charts as much as you think. In fact, really not at all. So we think increasing the cooldown on Lovebirds from 12 to 14 seconds, it's going to make that health swing she gets when she's hitting an enemy and healing her allies, be a little bit more impactful.
I don't hardly ever see Aphrodite in my game. She is in the game. I don't think she's that impactful.
All right, neat. We've also got
sorry, chocolate.
Coming up, one for Apollo in his Serenade.
Hopefully one day, whenever I do eventually get to
a revert. Will you tell us more about that, Clumsy?
Yeah. So
okay, never mind. Hopefully one day when I do get to partnership, I can have source options on. Twitter doesn't. Twitch doesn't.
Pretty resilient to the recent nerfs we've
hand out source options like candy to people who are partnered
right now, and we think hitting a Serenade, hitting something that he can utilize really well, especially late game when he just
Nerfs is the way they want because
it late game, which is where we want to address since we've already brought up his early game to a fair degree.
Okay, great. And then the last one on the list, Pawn, could you tell us more about the Nemesis nerf to Retribution specifically?
Yep. So we're.
I feel like that should have been needing nerf for quite some time.
From the shield when she uses it to reflect damage. The big thing here is Nemesis was one of the last assassins on the list to really be.
I would say with movement speed being taken away from a lot of the.
In this case, Nemesis shield change here.
Or from a lot of the items in game.
She's not trading
I definitely would not pick up no Zeus and expect to play him and do well on
thank you guys so much for telling us about the bonus balance that'll be coming. Tons of nerfs that are coming y'all's way on April 6th.
Yep.
But with that, we also have a lot of cosmetics that are going to be hitting the battleground. So we've got the Talons of Tyranny event is going to be
Zeus' old kid.
The first skin that we'll talk about is Prince of Lightning Zeus. Let's take a look.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, wow.
I'm not really into these type of skins.
Incredible. Oh no.
For me, they're like meh. Also, Zeus already has 6,000 skins. He doesn't need yet another one.
All of the effects and everything in game 2.
Evil Daddy
we've
Zeus.
Also got the voice lines ready. So
call him Zaddy.
Great, another set of fools to destroy.
I think the skin would have looked a lot better if they had if it was all black with highlights of red here and there.
Man, that outfit's so great.
I love it.
this directly with Almighty Zeus and just have them face off.
Yeah.
Which one will come out on top? We've also got Rune Machina Ganesha.
I just want to recolor the skin in all black.
Through the Talons of Tyranny event. Let's take
red is my favorite color, but you can get rid of red.
Oh, I love him. So neat.
Man, Ganesha just got a skin.
Yeah, this is in the.
I love all those.
I skin for being not toxic last year.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
And I was like throwing it
All right,
away.
let's give the voice pack a listen.
It is I, the opener of ways.
Is that a tusk or a banana, Zan?
Oh, that sounds amazing. It looks amazing. I also have a note from our audio team that said that they incorporated some Middle Eastern instruments into his magical sounds. So when you get to play him through the PTS this weekend, give it a listen and see if you can point those
All right,
out
I'm about it. I'm about to incorporate more
We've
cultural
also
things
got,
into the game.
One last skin that'll be coming out with the bonus update. We've got the Queen Bee Nox, and oh my
Nice.
gosh, the drip.
Now
She
this
looks
is a skin.
incredible.
It's beautiful.
Dress. I'm really excited to see what like the effects we're gonna pull off on this one.
It's unfortunate that
The
many people won't
honeycombs
be
in the
playing
back,
our
it's
game,
just
but you know.
beautiful.
The
Very
bees
pretty.
rotating around the scepter. Nice.
Yes. Let's give the voice pack a listen.
Let us give them a little sting, darling.
Oh my goodness, yes, 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 Slay Queen. I love her.
I love
But you know,
also
like,
the,
let's hit a voice
Easter
pack.
eggs in, like, the
I was
background.
really expecting
That
more.
was a set in the background of the
I'm sure it will be epic.
which is really neat.
Nice.
I love the Easter eggs and the backgrounds of the different card arts. The more
I'm
you
hoping
look,
that the voice
more you
pack on it is
Yeah.
pretty
Well,
dope.
that's going to wrap up all of the bonus update balance and skins that'll be hitting the battleground, but we also have some community news to go over. So the first thing that I wanted to remind everybody about is the birthday event. We still have some in-game rewards that you can earn for free through April 6th, where you can be
One of the things
unlocking
I
all
wish they would
kinds
kind of
of,
address on the Patch Notes
avatars,
show
jump stamps, global events,
is
and once
server
you
performance.
unlock 6, you
Just so
will
they can
get
give the community a heads up, hey, we know we've been having issues.
So make
We're
sure
working
you're
on
logging in
it.
every day to
Nice.
get those rewards.
We're doing X, Y, Z
Also got
to
a reminder that SPL is right around the
try to
corner.
stabilize servers
So April 23rd
and
will
in-game
be the kickoff.
connectivity.
Yes, right. It feels like it's been forever. But don't forget
so
that you can
long.
also grab the in-game cosmetics, and all of those proceeds will go directly to the players, so you can support them in-game and out of game. And then the last thing that I wanted to cover with y'all for community news is we have a new Prime Gaming skin available for y'all to claim for free. It is Infinite Seer Op Wash.
Nice.
I was like, is that
That's
our
really
Make sure you
watch?
claim that one.
I don't think I have that
love
skin just
all
yet.
of those infinite skins. They're so pretty and their effects are gorgeous. So if you don't have this one already, again, it's free through Prime Gaming, so pick that up. Are we ready to get into the balance that will be going live with the King of Uruk update?
Yeah, we got a lot to go over.
Say something. There better not be
All
no
right, first
nerfing
things
hunters in
first.
this patch.
The first three things are kind of all looped together, and I'll hand this off to Pawn. So we've got nerfs coming for
They're gonna have all.
Bumpus Hammer, Death's
It's not
Toll,
easy to be
and
perfect.
Death's Embrace. So what is the
Yeah,
change
so
that's
these are-
happening with those?
What was me, chocolate?
Yeah, so these are all interesting items where basically for hitting targets, you get a powerful benefit. So Bumpus Hammer, you get some health back, you get some cooldown reduction, you do some bonus damage.
Oh,
Death's
they
Embrace, you get
fixed it.
quite a bit of health back. And this was
So what
something
this
you
is
could cross out
about
immune
is
cases, you get
basically,
a monster
if
radius,
you're in
you
lane
shoot in,
and
targets,
you
just heal up
in the dual
full,
lane, there's a
get
camp
back
that you can gain health from.
It felt
If you hit it
little
a couple
bit
times,
against
you can get a little
what
bit of
these
HP
items
and
are.
MP.
Lifesteal, for example,
mana
you have
from
to
it.
actually engage and damage the camp to get health back.
So you don't have to actually be attacking or the monster
You want to reset them and let them.
that's in lane doesn't have to necessarily be attacking you.
But now it's not so free. You have to actually invest time and positioning to go do that.
Mhm.
Cool. We also are going to have a buff coming for Ornate Arrow.
It kind of was a
where
little
the item will
bug
now
that people
provide,
were
10% attack speed,
not
and
really
also
abusing
provide
seriously,
some
but
critical
you could
strike
abuse it.
chance, along with some changes to the passive. Clumsy, could
Got
you
a
take that
war
on
with
for
all
us?
of them already has on.
Yeah, so there's a lot of great star.
Hey, that's what
choices.
I-
Gilded Arrow,
that's why I guess it was a
one that
warrior,
you
because of all the armor he had on.
wanted to
He gives
pick up,
me
but you
warrior
didn't really
vibes.
justify, especially with some of the counter builds. So now with these buffs, you get a lot of them.
It also could be a fast Yo, what's up, JR? Appreciate the resub.
And then Leader's
Ooh, for 10
Cowl
months.
is getting a buff as well. Will you take that on, Clumsy, please?
Yeah, so Leader's Scowl is one of the ones where it's a little more of a niche scenario for hunters. It's like we talked about with the Ornate Arrow. There's just a lot of great choices. So now with this change, we're getting a 15% attack speed just straight off the bat. It's similar to what we talked about. It's just
Okay, I can now see with the additional attack speed, that item, Leader's Scowl could probably become a little bit more viable to build.
Initially, that new passive, not only is it a little bit better wording, so it's a bit clearer to understand.
Like that. Yo, guys, yeah, make sure you check out the great, and also content creator, which is JR Flames. Why doesn't Lady Hillcock get to shout that out twice?
Even in a
Dope content creator on Twitch. You guys should definitely check him out and drop him a follow.
Okay, awesome. This next item is getting a nerf, and I've seen it in almost every game. Sentinel's Embrace. Pawn, why are we giving that a nerf?
I mean,
Thank
you. Kind of
you.
Out, it's in every single game. It's really not only super effective, but it was also very restricted.
When AJ will be hosting one of these. Oh, hold on now.
Supports. Even if you might find the Compassion Tier 1 starter a bit better, it upgraded to Compassion and not Sentinel's Embrace, and so you're kind of like, I'm just going to go Sentinel's.
If I ever do host one of these.
So largely what we're doing here is making it spread out a bit more.
Okay, I don't know if it's 2 shout-outs, but double the shout-outs, double the fun.
And we're also reducing the aura. We are making up for some of it on the base stats to make sure that when you pick it up as a support, you still feel good about the defense that you're getting. You're not going to be giving as much to your teammates, and hopefully this will bring it more into line with the other.
I'll make sure I troll the fuck out of the chat that day.
So
who knows? We possibly could
games in
do it if we set our mind to it.
Takes place.
It'll still be pretty.
You never know where life may take you.
We'll see. We'll let the community be the judge of that. Compassion is also going to be getting a buff. The passive aura range is going to be increased. The magical protections will be increased along with the HP 5. Quincy, could you give us a little bit more insight on that buff?
Yeah, so we still think that even with the nerfs of Sentinel's Embrace, it's still going to be pretty good, and that's why we're
people are still going to pick up Sentinel's Embrace. The stats one is just too good.
Compassion was one that supports kind of struggle to use because of the range being a little bit limiting, so we're giving that a big chunk of extra range, and you're also getting a lot more defenses so that when you are taking the extra damage, you're going to be mitigating a lot more of it too.
Yeah, come just like, let me know when I can come in.
Sounds good. We have a shift coming in.
That's my plan on the scene.
Would you
I say it's a tie between. I mean, I watch a lot of.
Yeah, so Sundering Axe was very good for warriors, but it also had a secondary use case, which was that
for mages.
A lot of mages in particular were often skipping the starter and then rushing Sundering Axe at the very end, getting this basically extra 10% enemy current health damage up front on all.
Yes, please.
It's interesting. We think that's a cool idea, but we don't want that to be.
Get rid of that item. But I'll say Zatman and Barracuda are my
make you work a little bit harder for it if you
top
want to use it as a mage.
Favorite players to watch, and I think Zatman's Zatman seemed like he's been playing a pretty good game lately. Let's see if that translates into SPL.
Warrior is going to be as effective, or maybe even a little bit more effective for you. But if you're a mage and you're slashing it in at the very end,
Chocolate, I'll be on the Smite channel.
It's not going to be quite as
whenever Hi-Res decides to stop playing around. I did submit an application a while back.
They've got some time.
But I didn't hear nothing back.
We're also going to have some buffs coming for Bluestone Pendant and Bluestone Brooch.
I'm like, if Hi-Res wants to
tell us about those.
have me on the Smite channel, then good. But if not, then continue doing what we've been doing around here.
You're using a lot to poke your enemies and hit the wave.
I'm the best Smite player.
We're just punching up both of the numbers.
Best believer chocolate day?
The starter and the upgrade to make it feel a little bit more competitive.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but it's only 10 slots.
Pretty straightforward. We will also have a buff coming in for
or maybe a little bit less.
Timeline.
I know they have like a core group of streamers, and then they have streamers that they rotate in and out.
What do you think?
Yeah, so when we were all the different starters, we imagined there was a timeline where this we imagined there was a timeline where this was the only item built by anyone, and everyone always had alternate timeline. So we were pretty scared about the passive. We gave it a 10-minute cooldown. That was probably too extreme. And overall, people actually found out that when they used it, often they needed their teammates really there to support them because they would just revive and die otherwise. There are counterplay options. People can react.
I would say they probably can increase the cooldown a little bit more
often just to see how it plays in upcoming patches and see how this just plays now that we have had some time to.
Because basically, also the timeline, the way it currently stands is you use it once, then you get rid of it.
And the last thing that I've got on my list
of cooldowns are so high on it.
Is actually just a fix for Staff of Mirrodin, where we fixed an issue where the item was not triggering at the same time after ultimate ability fired as the other Arthurian items. Is there anything that
there's some inconsistency.
Yeah,
the
JR, hopefully
example
one
that
day
you
we can
probably
eventually make
think
moves
of
and
is Hera and Ascent.
get onto the Smite Gamer
those
channel. But if not, then
ultimates,
it is what it
you'd
is.
Wait till. So if you bought Pridwin, you'd cast those abilities and you immediately get Pridwin Shield. If you had Staff of Mirrodin, you had to wait till Argus died or the Circle of Protection exploded before you actually got it. So there was inconsistency with those two effects. They now match Pridwin, because that generally felt like the more like straightforward, usable case.
Mm-hmm.
How about buff the Hunter's equivalent of Staff of Meridian? Why don't we do that?
And now we get into the spicier part. Are we ready? Nerfs for Tiamat, man. Nerfs for Tiamat. Who wants to take that on? It's a lot.
They gotta definitely nerf those minions.
I'll go for it. So, yeah. So I saw a lot of people, waiting for what we're gonna do here. We went a whole patch without any shifts to Tiamat at all, and we really just want to get more data. She's now in ranked as well. There's a lot of different sentiments from the community as well.
They really do. It has a pretty good effect on it.
But in general, there's two main pain points, and I think it's very obvious for most people, and it's some things that we wanted to really assess and honestly kind of release on the stronger side before we toned it back. And that's one, the mitigation she gets in her ground stance. Now she's still going to be able to get a cap. So she goes from a base of 30% to a cap of 60%, but it's going to be relying on the magical power from items that she gets. So you can't just be a tanky bruiser solo lane with 0 magical power and still be just really frustrating to deal with. You're going to have to invest into some of that itemization. And then 2, of course, the little baby serpents. Again, we really wanted to make sure that they released to a point, because it's such a niche ability and such a niche application and use case, that they were noticeable. So that we didn't need to buff them to the points where they were oppressive. We can now start where they're a little bit strong and then nerf them to the point where they feel fair. So there's so many different knobs we can tweak, and we chose that minions can now kill them more easily, and they also just deal less damage with the magical power scaling from Tiamat as well. On the other side of things, it's a little bit of a shift because she got 2 appropriate nerfs.
Buffing.
And a lot
She's gonna slight buff.
Out of the 3 ultimate buffs,
How she worked, but she really is.
Kind of needed a buff to be a little bit more alluring,
and that's what I felt like. I felt like I mean, initial release, people didn't really know how to operate a kit pretty well, but
to maneuver around.
Once you figure out how to operate a kit, she's actually pretty good.
Tiamat's honestly been received in a pretty good spot, kind of where we'd expect, where her high-level applications in ranked, she is winning almost more than we might expect, but from casuals and soon as bringing that MMR down when people aren't quite used to playing her, you see her dropping down the win rate quite heavily. But I think these are going to be good steps forwards, and we're excited to see what you guys think.
Yeah, it seems like right as Gilgamesh is making his way onto the battleground,
that's
Tiamat
true.
is
maybe some of Gilgamesh's power made Tiamat back off a little bit. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, cool. Thank you so much for giving us the rundown on that. I'm excited to see how Tiamat feels differently next.
Oh, I just realized they're not doing that many god changes.
Next up, we've got Achilles. He will be getting a buff.
Oh, they're not going in alphabetical order.
Shield bash and fatal strike.
Oh God.
Some details about that.
Aren't we tired of seeing Achilles in games?
He's considered very good for a while, but he's kind of started to fall off as we've hit him with quite a few nerfs.
Good, let him fall off. That dude has been
that wasn't just damage.
Living in the glory days for quite some time.
Cooldown will help him control the fight more often and help him
let him continue falling.
Opponents more often. Why fatal strike?
Yep, Chocolate, she's available right now.
Where if he successfully executes a target, he takes more damage from opponents as kind of like he's showing his Achilles heel. But that was really punishing often. If you actually trigger this a few times, it removed your ability to continue the fight super heavily. It should feel like a punishment. So fatal strike is actually getting.
I feel like he got a good release. He's been solid for the most part compared to other warriors.
Executes a target. Overall, just
this one be. I have been seeing less of him in my games.
Cool. So he won't feel like he's getting as much of a.
Let's let him be.
Hurt.
Negative,
helping out
to his heel,
his heel.
Yep.
All right, cool.
That is actually what the tooltip is. It has Achilles' as heel as the tooltip for that debuff.
So cute. We also got a
more warriors, but solo is rough. I don't know how people do it. That it is.
Clumsy, could you give us a little bit of context on that?
Yeah, Bacchus is one of those gods where, you see him do decently well in, Joust as well as maybe even in Arena, but in Conquest it's been hard to kind of bring him in, and not every god needs to be viable, but we've done a lot
I was just about to bring up that point, not every god that they have over 100-something odd gods in the game.
Before you go into fights,
not every god needs to be viable in
so we're going to make
Conquest
this
or every mode.
Easier to use. Decrease the mana cost. It doesn't need to be something
Bacchus over the house. You would like Bacchus.
Reducing its cooldown, so you really feel like you don't feel a time where you kind of don't want to use it, right? It's an easy choice to make, as well as increasing the damage of Belch of the Gods. I think we can all agree that Belch of the Gods, especially when you're trying to help your wave clear and your hunter, it's really not that strong. So we think bumping it up by just a little bit per tick will add up in the end.
All right, same here. Come on, it's annoying.
Neat. That sounds good.
Everything about that God's kid is
also,
annoying.
Our big snake boy Jormungandr is getting a buff. Yes. Will you tell us about that, Clumsy?
Yeah, Jormungandr, he was really successful in the solo lane when he came out, and we definitely hit him with a lot of nerfs back to back, mostly focusing on that attack damage, and there was a lot of interactions with that we had to kind of shore up.
Yeah, I've been feeling like Jormungandr's man.
Now we've been looking for a few buffs, catering a little bit to the support as well as the solo lane. The next step we want to look at is consuming Bellow. In fact, a lot of people may not remember, but if you consume multiple pools of Venomous Haze, you actually get an empowered attack speed buff from consuming Bellow. So now we're going to elongate that buff a little bit. It's going to be a little bit more easy to use, giving him that attack speed buff that he kind of was lacking with the nerfs, as well as reducing the cooldown on Submerge again. It's something that we did once, and it's an ability.
I actually don't mind those changes. Jormungandr is kind of meh.
Will help out more towards his late game.
Nice. Excited to see that in action. Merlin is next up. He'll be getting a buff as well.
Come on.
Tell us about
let the dude
changes that are happening.
let's live and stay where he's at.
So Dragonfire is the deployable where you have to make sure that they're actually standing in this area to get an effect. And to actually get all 6 stacks, payoff was
I feel like Merlin currently, I would say he's at a good space.
So this
leave him
make
alone.
sure that when you apply, it's a lot easier to get.
He's not doing the damage on the scale of a solo, but he has about
quickly ramp up
6,000 bells. He doesn't need another buff.
That doesn't have
How more he's at.
scale over the course of the game. This is important to note too that this is also protection reduction on gods specifically. Correct.
Very good point. Yeah, absolutely.
Which means that this isn't. We're not like trying. He's already a very good objective controller. This is not a buff to his objective secure in any way. This is really more to help.
Maybe new people use fire.
If he is able to trap enemy gods.
Yeah, there's also a lot of people that go into his gravity sense and just stay in it.
To get there.
Sounds good. Yeah, I think decrease.
Merlin cast buff.
And next up, y'all, I'm so stoked. My girl Neith, get the buff she deserves.
No, stop buffing her.
Is going to have a decreased cooldown. Who would like to take that one on?
I'm already getting owned by her in lane unexpectedly because I'm like, oh, this
we've done a lot of
trick doesn't do that much damage.
I mean, the backflip feels so much more responsive than it did.
Yes, it
Paul
does.
was great help on that one, I know for sure. But her cooldown,
she's still basic in my book.
For, an ability hunter are a little bit on the longer side. We think just a decrease in the cooldown.
Yeah, I like going between ice and I like going between also the gravity stance.
It'll be a really big quality of life.
Those two stances have pretty good setup in terms of CC and getting damage off onto him. I'm biased hella Merlin before I'm ecstatic.
We also have a buff coming for Olorun, increasing his base power, but also playing with Touch of Fate.
I felt like Olorun needed a buff ever since they nerf.
Yeah, Olorun is a character.
The crap out of him.
His ultimate is obviously very powerful, but
some of the movement speed items, I feel like he's. I haven't really been seeing him in any of my games.
And he's right now on the kind of more the side of.
You already your Birdman wouldn't exist. You're wrong. That ain't my Birdman.
I just felt like giving him some extra base power for his basic attacks and making Touch of Fate that synergy to make sure
the ultimate Birdman is off.
Impactful with his basic attacks, bumping those up to make sure to give him more of a role and just.
Dolph buff for her next game. Could you imagine if Hyra's really gave Dolph a buff?
All right, sweet. Thank you very much. And we have a Circuit buff coming as well.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it, but the buff, a Dolph buff with would be nice.
So, Circuit is a character that we want to be very careful of because if we buff her too much, she has a tendency to go towards more of this like tanky support build. So whenever we buff her, we want to make sure that we're buffing.
She's like on Fountain with his wall.
That's where we feel like when she feels.
Imagine just sitting in Fountain, coming out and just getting all of a sudden get hit by a false snipe.
So the first thing, Catalyst stacks will not only be consumed when you actually damage.
I mean, low-key, I wish Janice, they would give Janice the ability to one-shot people with his ultimate.
Not deal any damage. Now
from like across the map.
Attack, so you get through the block stacks. You get
because if you can hit a snipe from across the map, then I think they should just give that to you.
Your passive stacks, which is just a nice quality of life for Circuit in general. And the second one is Last Breath. We're bumping up the physical power scaling. If you build more power, this true damaging ultimate.
I like
you're going
Circa.
to get
She's
more power,
solid
so
overall.
You're really incentivized to build
I
power on
mean,
her, especially because
Like
this
tank
skill is so
wise or
well.
hybrid wise,
The
she's pretty
equivalent amount
solid.
of damage this is doing because it's true damage is
Compared to
very
other
good, so
assassins,
Circuit players will have.
I
just
don't
a nice
really like to
buff overall in this
play
patch.
her in the jungle.
Yeah, I think our circuit players are probably thrilled right now. So thank you. We've got a buff coming for Sylvanas as well.
Uh-oh.
Clumsy, will you help us with that? Talking about verdant growth, but also just in general his basic attack damage.
Yeah, Sylvanas is a guardian who brings a lot of control and utility to the team. It's a guardian that even I like to pick up as someone who doesn't play guardians as much because it's just what you can do to help your team.
Not gonna be back those fast dash go downs. Could you imagine?
You can heal your teammate a little bit. You can damage the enemies if they're nearby. But even though your basic attacks are a radius and hits everything in that area, it's actually you're just not doing enough because you've only got verdant growth on top of that.
Appreciate the hose.
Where the scaling on verdant growth will be a bit more impactful.
I'm not so sure about this because, you know, May
last
Sylvanas.
but not least, Zhonghui is
He's
getting
already a
a
force to be
buff
working with.
Exposed Evil. Pon, could you give us a little bit of insight
Uh-oh.
into that?
John Kui's getting a buff.
Yep, so Zhonghui, just giving him a little bit extra scaling on his main damage ability. Exposed Evil, this is the card, so you take damage is going to ramp up a bit more effectively, so if you're building a bit more kind of on the damage side of Bruiser, you're going to feel this more. But
Y'all know y'all could have gave John Kui a bigger buff than that.
It's going to be consumed based off how much damage.
Homie hasn't been in meta for, you know,
that kind of like
a little time now.
So
Give him a bigger
just
buff.
in general, bringing him up.
John Duggar getting a buff. Fuck me sideways 5 times.
Cool, and that'll cover.
I was hoping they'll give him a
right
bigger
after we
buff.
just got that kitty
So I could
cat
do
scene, so that's
John Kui
Yeah.
ADC.
But that wraps up all of our balance.
It was
let's
at the beginning of
start
season 8
talking
whenever we
about
got
the
a
skins that are gonna be coming with
buff.
the update as well. So the Talons of Tyranny event will be ongoing as it has been, and it will be releasing.
This big man don't need a buff.
Chilling,
No. John is fine.
Ooh.
and
he's
he
angry.
looks incredible. That I
He
do not
says
want
as
that
he
to
goes back and take a look at
I
his
don't
almost
want
30
that
kill
using
game.
chains to bring me closer.
Assault game.
But it looks incredible.
Yeah,
Let's get the
in our
voice
playtest, I
packets.
know someone was saying that they're the
Is that
aura
Ares?
was really, really
Where's Ares' thickness at? I know Ares be thick.
Nice.
Yeah, I feel like the intimidation factor has
Like you've
gone
been
up
wearing a
to the
waist
level
rider.
itself. But let's give the voice pack a listen.
That's your boy Ares himself.
I awaken from my rest one last time.
Oh my god. That is incredible.
I wish I
love
played
it.
more
That
voice packs during
is
this part.
perfect for him. Next up, we've got Headless Horror Chiron, again with the Talons of Tyranny event. And
All right, I see you,
the
Hi-Res.
purple. The purple.
What y'all doing with the?
Purple's one of my
I'm
favorite colors.
jumping out.
Really going
Right.
with the
Oh, man.
Can he be a skeleton without a head?
Yeah, absolutely.
A partial skeleton. Oh my gosh, it looks.
Yeah,
so
Jerry, you should
Look at where
start
his
playing
head
Smite
would
again.
be with all those flames.
Oh, my
and
lord.
That's beautiful.
Take all my jumps, Hi-Res.
That's awesome.
And then being able to see through his body. I love the skins where it like you can see through them, like the infinite skins, like we were talking about earlier with the Prime Gaming, and then this Chiron skin as well. Really beautiful. Let's give it the voice pack a listen.
The hunt.
Right, your little brother plays Smite, Jer, or your little brother?
Answer.
Ooh,
I love it.
spooky.
It's so spooky. With the Talons of Tyranny event, we're also going to have Lady of the Sea Discordia, which is my favorite skin from this update.
Brought it in, you got another
yes.
skin?
Yeah, wait.
This
Look
one's
at
so
it.
good.
I mean, I'm not hating.
Eel thing. What? It's got a little jellyfish cat.
Yes. I
This
love
one is
it, I
way
love it,
too
I
cool
love
in
it.
game.
Oh, talk about jumping.
Oh,
Look
look
at
at
it.
that.
Oh
I don't
my
hear that
gosh,
statement
it's
often
like a
enough.
mermaid,
It's
but
such a great,
jellyfish, and I
such a great
am
statement.
living for this. Oh my gosh, yes, all
Oh,
day.
the little
Those color
jellyfish's little
schemes
face
too.
too. Look at the little face on the
It
jellyfish.
does?
No, that's the Discordia.
Oh, it does.
Yeah,
Yes.
Although that skin would be better on Noir. It will make way more sense because Noir already has a mermaid skin.
Let's just float along today and see where the waves bring us.
Hey man, the Discordia,
Perfect.
he's in a good spot. If anything, I feel like Discordia needs a little buff to
If a jellyfish
put it
comes
more in
out.
line with other mages.
And then the last skin from the Talons of Tyranny event will be Tormented Soul Medusa. And wait till y'all see this. Oh my god.
Yo, I thought Soul was getting another skin.
This is
Okay, high risk. I see you.
Such a different theme. I love
I mean, it's not like I'm gonna play
Oh my goodness,
play
yes.
more Medusa, but you know.
She's actually, it almost looks like she's like missing her tail part from most of her
I
skins.
concur, Rave. The Medusa,
that's true.
Mermaid skin, and also the Android skin.
Like a tormented spirit, right? That's literally
Those
what
are my two favorite skins.
And we are
Yeah,
actually
very
going to
neat.
be hopping in game to see this one with
Ooh.
Pawn. So let's
Hey, Chocolate, you leave my Discord alone.
I'll show you pain, and you have so much to learn.
Oh my goodness,
Really like
I
the
love
chains
it.
like flowing off towards where her tail was.
Yeah, me
Oh,
too.
those skulls. Sick.
Yo, what that ulti do?
Oh, those effects are so neat.
Yo, imagine if you could hit tanks and you know you actually take off that much health on them.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. Oh my
Oh wait, I
gosh,
missed it.
yes.
Oh, that's sick.
I love that. It looks like magma. Or
This slug chick. This slug chick is Medusa. JR.
her spray. That is so pretty.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay, this is
GG
pretty dope.
Awesome.
I
Well,
wish
those
the
are going to be
minions
all of
that
the
she,
talented
or I
tyrannies
wish the
that we'll
statues that
see
she,
with the King of Uruk update on April 20th.
that is produced from
Also,
her
on
ult,
420, when the
would do
update
more.
launches, we'll have a groovy chest that will be coming with the
Yeah.
update as well. And the
Okay,
first
okay.
skin that we want to highlight from there will be the fun guy Merlin skin. Let's take a look.
Merlin's getting yet another skin.
Yes.
Fun.
All right, I'm probably
Yes.
about
I
it.
see what you did there.
Yes.
He has a
all
hippie skin.
day.
Team. Okay, everyone who voted for this.
So yes, this will be part of the groovy chest, which
my
will
gosh.
launch on 420.
More flavor. Oh, it's like in the ass.
I'm obsessed with this.
Well, I'm gonna
Like-
check this one out.
Discord, and her giant disco ball.
I want the vest. I want the hat.
That would definitely be. I feel like that would be a great skin, Chocolate.
Yeah, I haven't
Alright,
seen
let's
this
make it
one
happen.
yet. This is my first time, so I'm really curious.
His face looks super friendly too. But let's give the voice pack a listen and see what he has to say.
All right, everybody, only good vibes here.
It's the voice pack that does it for me.
Let's go.
Only good vibes. That's the only way to play. And then the other skin that
Chocolate,
will
you don't
be
like this
part
god
of
and
the
his
groovy
abilities?
chest is Peace Out Artemis. And wait till y'all see. It's so pretty. It's so pretty.
Ooh.
Oh god.
I love her.
Is Tusky the bus?
It's got
Yes.
a smiling
Yes,
face
yes,
to it.
yes,
It's gotta
yes,
be. It
yes.
better be.
Man.
Wait, and
Yeah,
eyes. I missed the eyes.
or TSK. Yeah,
Yes.
100%. That has to be
Okay,
right.
Oh, yeah,
maybe
yeah,
about
yeah.
it.
It is. It is.
See what that voice pack does.
There it is.
Oh my
my
god.
That's a bust some
God.
cars.
That's
And
incredible.
Artemis has a lot of skins that I really like, but I don't know if one beats this one for me personally. I think she's ready
Yes,
to
think
go
what, buddy?
to Bonnaroo or a music festival. Get
Don't
down
look
with
at
her
all you
friends
mighty
and
fair.
just
Let's
spread
get
some peace
chocolate.
and love.
Yeah, I love the colors, but I love the Tusky. Oh my god.
All right, and let's see how she sounds.
Yeah, they like this way, Tuss.
Let's go on a nature walk. We really need to take in the beauty that's around us. You
Okay,
feel
again,
me?
it's the voice pack that does it for me.
I feel you. I feel you. Let's
Oh
go
my
on a
gosh.
walk. And that'll wrap up all of the skins that we'll be releasing with the update on April 20th. And the last thing that we need to go over before we start getting into
What's up,
conquest
Legend?
changes and Gilgamesh is a couple of quality of life updates. The first thing that I want to talk to y'all about is adjustments to the login screen. Pawn, could you give us some little notes about that?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll try and keep this short because there's it's mostly backend stuff, but really we're making improvements to the backend for serviceability. So when you log into the new patch, you'll see kind of a login message. Whether or not there's a queue, it'll kind of put you into a queue and let you know like, hey, you're in a queue, and then log
Yes,
you
please,
in.
Shocker, give me that.
In most cases, this will just be a quick message. In case there's an actual queue, it'll be a bit longer. But
That last
again,
all
this is really
skin.
to help keep things stable and just generally build server stability.
Wait, I heard something was gonna be longer.
We are all about that server stability. That updates to that is fantastic. We also have some quality of life updates for Baba Yaga. Who would like to take
That
those?
last fall scan was cheeks.
I can also probably take that one on.
Like, how do y'all drop
Trying to figure out which
two
one.
awesome skins in a row for one god,
Yeah.
and then you drop a skin that doesn't have a wall factor
so
on it?
The quick of the Baba Yaga changes is really that we focus a lot on improving her ultimate. So her ultimate had some issues where, especially on some like maybe more jittery connections, you could have situations like you ult and the animations don't quite play correctly. You're walking around and your targeter and your camera will jitter. You'll start to try and fire ability and you'll like animate
Stop
like you're
moving,
actually throwing
JR.
the ability, but then you won't throw it and you have to like refire it. We've just done a lot of refactoring to that ability to make sure that it feels a lot smoother. So when you're playing in the new patch, it should feel like a much better experience to use Baba Yaga's ultimate.
Nice.
Wait,
awesome.
I didn't know that they
Scary witch.
Oh,
the
and
new
the other
thought skin
one
didn't
is
have a scream on it.
the root that she has is decreased. So she self-roots herself when she casts the ultimate. That's also decreased, so it should feel quicker and more responsive to actually start moving with that ability as well.
How about y'all fix Hachiman, man?
That'll feel great.
I'm tired of getting in games where I'm playing Hachiman.
That will be,
I hop on my horse,
not loading.
and either the horse takes off without me,
right. A lot of people who actually, in fact, we found out, one of the small fixes for some people, depending on whether.
or I get stunned while I'm on the horse.
You may see your.
Which again, it takes off without me.
With, just blacked out. There's just nothing there, or even some models don't load in properly. You could have changed the texture settings. That might help you there. But for now, that's what you can do. But we're gonna have that fixed overall, so you won't have to worry about that soon.
Good.
Yay! Love to see it. Well, that is going to cover all of the balance, the skins that are coming with the update. But next, let's talk about the first set of.
Yeah, I didn't realize he didn't make a loud scream.
The Rising Storm.
I gotta check out and see how it sounds like. Now, are they changing the map?
Discord festers below. The goddess of the salt sea.
I'm about a map change. Give it to me.
The land as she sees fit, as she does.
Oh yeah, some boudin.
And foe alike. Now the gods stand.
Wait, so is the map more interactive?
Will they stand against Tiamat's reign?
Wait, so does it change during the progression of the game? Is that what's happening?
Welcome back, everybody, and how about that trailer?
There's
I'm
Isaiah.
So pumped.
Where have you been all my life, Isaiah?
First Living Conquest update of Season 8. I'm Isaiah from the community team. Want to give a quick shout out to Cupcake for taking us through.
Yeah, I knew they were going to be 4 changes, but my main question is that map, is the next map that's coming going to be a little bit more interactive during game?
Pond is going to be
like our pathways going to change out throughout the game.
Exciting stuff coming into 8.4, but we said it at the beginning of the season. Conquest is going to be a living map, a living game mode with periodic changes that are going to be coming up in, periodic updates. So the Rising Storm is our kind of internal code name for this first update. And I'll pass it along to Ajax. What's going on in Smite and how is the battleground transforming?
Yeah, so this is a big feature that we've been looking forward to all season. We have
I hope so,
finally
Chocolate.
Here for our first update. We had just had a brand new map.
Just as
now we're going to go
session.
ahead and layer another level of change onto this brand new map. I don't really feel like the map is totally solved yet, but we're going to head and get it even spicier anyway. We're going to have a few changes that all fit according to the Smite storyline until the launch of our new god Gilgamesh.
I wonder how this is going to affect SPL.
Gilgamesh is arriving in this update. We're going to learn more about him in a minute with Pon Pon. But in the Smite universe, Tiamat was the savior. She banished Cthulhu. She cleansed the world of all of his corruption and madness.
You hear
And the
that,
gods
Chad?
are still trying to figure her out.
Tiamat
They're not
banished
really sure what
Cthulhu.
she's up to. She could be good. She could be evil. She seems to be a little
Don't be seeing any more
controlling, but
Cthulhu
not
in my
necessarily
games.
mean. But
He's supposed to
Gilgamesh
be
shows up,
banished.
and he has a history with Tiamat. He knows about Tiamat's past, and he wants to fight her immediately. That does not make Tiamat happy. So as a response, Tiamat kind of puts a twist on her map that she has created for us. She summons a great storm, as well as she causes the gardens, the hanging gardens of Babylon, to overgrow. And what that's going to do is create 2 major changes to the map in 8.4. We're going to see a completely new skybox and lighting.
No,
change to a
that
dark and
please.
stormy skybox.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
and
I could go
darker
for some
lighting
boudin right by
treatment.
now.
This might remind some people of the older Season 2 map that was very kind of dark and stormy. We've been really excited to try out something like this. So
Give me my
that's
dark
just
map.
a really big visual change. As soon as you load into the map, you will notice the difference. And then additionally, we have a brand new game mechanic called the Vine Walls, which are breakable walls that spawn in the jungle to block your path, and you will have to break through them.
I'm about
go
it.
through normal jungle paths.
I am about
We're
it.
actually ready to go in game. We want to definitely show it off because
Give me my
lots
vine
of
wall now.
kind of balance implications, especially towards the mid lane here, that these walls are going to be causing. And as you can see, we've got around the Harpy camps on the left and right sides of mid lane. In the patch notes, we've got a high-res version of the mini-map that you'll be able to see exactly where these walls are. But
There
AJ,
are
talk to me
6
about
of
these
them.
walls and where they are and how they are being destroyed here.
So we were playing up on the mechanic of the base gates and what we call dynamic geometry, which is, you know, blocking.
I wish the sky was a little bit more darker,
moving, but that can also
or
be
the game itself was a little bit darker. I wish it kind of had like a little bit more night tone to it.
Placed around the middle of the map, and they're placed symmetrically. So there's one for the order side as well as the chaos side. You can see they have 2 health points as the red orbs that are floating within them. They can only be broken by basic attacks. So every wall can be broken with 2 basic attacks. They
Imagine trying to run away and then all of a sudden you run into a wide wall.
Specifically there to be unique play on how you move and how you travel through the jungle. Probably the only other important rule about them is their respawn. So they will respawn when their adjacent jungle camp respawns. So as Pawn just cleared out here, he killed all the walls, but he's not killing any jungle camps. Those walls will stay down, but when you're playing more of a normal match and you're killing those mid-harpies, so every time the mid-harpies respawn, the walls will also respawn, even if they were just killed moments ago. If you just aren't killing them, then nothing will change. You know, they'll stay there. But it creates a really scary situation.
That's a little graphic. Well, I think everybody did the Jesus or squeeze out.
As you're fleeing from someone or chasing down someone, they can make a big impact on the battle.
Definitely.
I can definitely see him as old man.
Just immediately as we loaded into the map, as you were saying, the skybox has been completely changed. Talk to me about a little bit of the art direction and how we've wanted to go with a little bit of a darker style here for the skybox.
Yeah, I think this is one thing that players have talked about in Smite for a while. They wanted a bit of a, you know, trying to think of the right word. They wanted a more serious conquest map, right? They wanted some drama. They wanted some weight. They wanted things to be looking.
Or give me a nice sky with
right?
stars.
We wanted Tiamat's arrival to have a kind of a positive spin on it. You know, it's.
Yo, I think this is looking pretty dope.
It had a very sunset lighting, as we called it, which is kind of.
I like the way you heroes click them right away.
The best time to take photographs when you look the best, when people look the best.
I'm about that, JR. Give me the Ranger heroes. Don't give me anybody
now as the war between the gods are
kind of close and personal.
Tiamat and Gilgamesh and the rest of the gods is escalating. We have changed that lighting. We've also made some environment changes here to the mid lane. You can see there's some damage to the mid lane, kind of to represent the fight between Tiamat and Gilgamesh. And Tiamat has also ignited these torches on the Babylonian structures to kind of let the gods know that she means business. The environment team did a big pass on the lighting throughout the jungle. There is some interesting white to gray lighting to help guide you through the jungle, but still give it a darker.
I wouldn't mind a darker map.
The order base itself is kind of in a, you know, as if
this is kind of getting there.
Clouds and just a bit of sun shining through. All of that shining onto the.
But give me a map with
the rest of the map is
with almost complete darkness.
And the darker map is also really interesting because it helps the Smite gods and abilities really stand out. I think oftentimes players.
And with the darker map, they probably can do away with the
when things are too bright
fog and have
when maps are too white, yellow, gold. That can be
the vision of night that kind of obstructs your vision of gods from afar.
The 8-1 conquest map was the perfect middle ground for that, but we've made that mistake previously on older maps.
Oh, so that moment buff. Me too.
This darker lighting and.
Yeah, what's that called? Type in? Type that in my
quarterly
in my games, whatever I'm
definitely
noticeable, visible changes to the map.
Yeah, this is super exciting. I know this is something that was like really, really big in the community when we announced it at the beginning of the year. And I am super excited for players to hop into Conquest, the Rising Storm, this brand new living Conquest map. The entire team internally is excited about it, and we hope players are as excited as we are. It's definitely looking awesome, and it's definitely going to feel awesome as we.
I'm about the ideal of
in the Smite story.
These structures growing.
The stage is set for
during the course of the Conquest game.
We also want to touch on another game mode that we announced at the beginning of the year. Before we start talking about Gilgamesh, we've got some Slash updates, and I'll pass it over to you, Ajax, on this one.
Yeah, a lot of people have been asking questions about this, so we prepared this kind of statement to talk more about Slash and just be more specific about our goals for the mode.
Slash.
First thing is that the mode is not planned to launch until much later in the year. Q4, so end of the year. I saw a lot of people out there saying that any update now it's going to be ready. It's like, no, that's not the case. It's still very early. Also wanted to just, and I'm going to be more careful here with my notes because there's some very specific wording here. We really want Slash to feel like the rework that Siege mains and Clash mains both want, but in one map.
Who the fuck out here is rolling in these streets a Siege? Someone who plays a lot of Siege and considers themselves a Siege main.
Problems with Siege and trying to draw on what is successful in Smite in other modes that could help make Siege a better experience.
Like, I love Siege and all, but
a lot of things we're doing in Clash.
Not on the point, or not on the version where I'm like, I'm a Siege main.
And what are other things that work well in Smite? We were seeing actually some lessons from Siege. And so we were just realizing more and more that these modes had a lot of overlap between them. They both occupy a very similar gameplay space in Smite, which is something that has a high amount of combat, but lower amount of strategy and farming, like Conquest. So you want something in between Arena and Conquest. And this is not to say that Slash or Siege or Clash are ways to prepare for Conquest. That generally does not work, and we don't think that's a good idea. But they
I wonder if they're going to keep the big
twists on more casual game modes like Arena, but giving you more objectives and more things to play around.
Yeah, I'm quite confused on why they decided to remove Ring of Wars from
working them together into one map.
Siege.
So we're going to be trying to take the best parts of both maps and bring them together into one mode. We're gonna continue naming
like another mode. You kind of want to encourage
internal code name, but it's just
using wards. That way, whenever you do hop into the Conquest,
went forward with it with our Smite World Championships.
Kind of like second nature.
So it's gonna be Slash. It's gonna feature a
yeah, let me get that low strategy
as well as an Egyptian base. So you're gonna get both art sets. There's still gonna be a huge amount of updated, brand new environment art for both of them. And the mode is
as low strategy,
which I know most people
that Siege and Clash is.
Really,
it can be quite frustrating playing once it starts to get snowballing.
More of the game is balanced around it. People can bring in full parties at 5v5. There's just a lot of advantages to 5v5. But this map is going to have a lot of Siege mechanics. So, without giving away too many spoils.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. What are they going to do with the
things like lane pushing juggernauts? We're looking to keep things like
4-person in comparison to 5-person.
A lot of Siege type mechanics as well. So this map still will feel like a Siege update, although it will be 5v5. So that's the plan right now. We're still
bring it up to a 5v5.
We're gonna be
I don't know. I kind of missed the 4v4.
About it. We'll be using the Olympians to help evaluate with that. Although they won't be able to tell you all about most of their early testing because of the NDAs and other agreements we have with them. But we're going to be making sure we keep the community feedback in mind as we move forward. And it's going to be a really exciting new game mode. I'm really looking forward to it. But just wanted to go ahead and get those out there, clear the air, make sure no one is confused about what our goals are for Slash.
I wouldn't mind Slash being 4v4.
So you've got your first set of Slash updates here on the show. I'm sure as you're ready to get trickle out more information, we'll be posting it out on social media, possibly talking on it.
Pirates is giving us the Overwatch 2 treatment.
Like Ajax
they're not going to tell us when it drops.
The end of the year,
they just tell us that they're working on it.
Is going to hit the live client. But we've got we went over the Conquest updates. You got an update on Slash, but I feel like it's time to talk about the King. We are ready to go in and talk about Gilgamesh, the newest warrior coming to Smite. We'll be right back on the other side of this break.
Oh my, warrior. I didn't see that coming. Tiamat looks a lot bigger than this than she really looks in game. Yeah, I figured that your boy Giggle was gonna be a warrior just because of how he looks and he's carrying around a big ass sword.
Welcome back, everyone. The stage is set, quite literally. The storm is over the Conquest map now. Gilgamesh has arrived to battle Tiamat in this fated event in 8-4 that is coming.
They had my main character. I'll go back.
Talk about Gilgamesh, King of Uruk. So as we get ready to go in game and as production starts pulling up the card art and the turnaround,
my 2K hats gave them a budget on the cinematics.
Where is he fitting in Smite?
Yeah, so Gilgamesh, I mean, many people have probably read his.
Don't make him a Sasquatch police
story, but he's a king, he's a leader, and he's also an adventurer. He is starts off as this very kind of self-righteous guy who's only invested in himself, and through encounters with his basically wrestling partner Enkidu, his friend, he learns.
Yeah, I feel like Smite missed a whole lot of opportunities to make
and learn more about what
these guys that they're dropping a little bit more badass.
Enkidu's death, he actually learns that mortality is a thing that he actually has to be a little worried about, and it humbles him. And he starts off from this kind of self-righteous king to this very fine and powerful ruler who cares for his people. And so we're kind of in the middle of that journey with him in the story of Smite. But yeah, he's just one of those Egyptian figures in any. Whenever you're talking about like heroes' journeys or old epics, he is like the character to go to. He's like one of the first epics that we.
He's like he comes from either Egyptian pantheon or
super excited to have Gilgamesh and Smite.
Romanian
pantheon. The first king to join the battleground. Ajax, talk to me a little bit about how we approached the theme and the visuals for Gilgamesh compared to some of the other kings.
Or he's not actually from a pantheon; he's just a king.
Well, Gilgamesh is special to us because he's our first god from a new region, right? The Mesopotamian Babylonian region, the modern day Middle East, which is really interesting.
Oh, he's from the Middle Eastern region. Okay.
Historical imagery, specifically this civilization was known for carvings and stone tablets. But
here's the thing:
imagery as well
if they're bringing in a new region into Smite, I need for them to release a couple of guys with that region.
It's because of the
don't do a one and drop like it did to Bear 70 and Pele.
It's just really exciting to have that level of history and story into Smite. Which I know Pawn went a little bit into his story, but then also now we have a new.
All right, let me go ahead and check it out, Rave.
In Smite, which we're always happy to have, and we just wanted to make sure we use that reference and that location to influence his design.
This is like Kali on steroids. This does look pretty badass.
Style, and I think he just looks amazing.
He definitely looks amazing, but I am ready to see how he dukes it out on the battleground. I believe we are ready to go in game, and as is tradition, I will give Pawn the reins to just do what it do and show us what Gilgamesh does really quick.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, I really like that. I'm hoping that they... Okay. Oh, okay. I'm liking the set. Oh, okay.
This is so dope.
Really, it's the drop kick, right? That's too good.
It's the drop kick is so satisfying. Oh my goodness!
This is probably one of the first warriors that I've seen in a long time where I'm like, right off the bat, I like their kits.
Quick glimpse at what Gilgamesh can do. They might notice that he's got a round shield, just kind of flashing in his inventory. Let's talk about the passive.
Well, yeah, that Final Fantasy
Gilgamesh Pawn. How did he get that round shield?
Final Fantasy Gilgamesh is pretty badass.
That's the epic of Gilgamesh. You're gonna actually adventure as Gilgamesh. You're gonna have different things you have to do around the map. So the big thing here is at level 5, you'll get your first quest. These quests can be completed at any time throughout the game, but they have different requirements. The first quest is visit location on the map. So you can see when I spawned here, it was here. This is mostly just because we're in like testing and I'm level 20 and I'm switch classing all the time. But what it'll do is when you hit level 5, it'll pick a location on the enemy side of the map that is close to kind of where you were when you hit level 5. So if you're in solo lane, it's going to be...
All I know is them quests better be up out of my lane.
If you're in dual lane as a support, it's going to be more around like the purple area.
I'm in love with it. Already right there with after seeing that.
To find a location. If you successfully get there and walk over that
Consider it done.
Ground, you get a tier 1 item. So that's the reward for any of the quests. And at level 10, you get a second quest, which is to... The first one was to adventure. The second quest is to conquer. You have to defeat half the enemy team rounded up in a single team fight. So if a big team fight erupts and 3 of the enemy team...
I mean, I'm liking the quest, the idea of the quest, but what?
Whether you got the kill or assist, you will actually complete that quest and you'll get another reward for that, which is another random tier 1 item. So you can definitely... If you're willing to risk and try and like create these situations where you can get the quest done, you can get quite a big reward for it.
So I'm wondering, do you get the tier 1 item plus the gold from the kill, or
in Smite before? Pawn, talk to me. What
is it the tier 1 item in place of the gold?
Complete a quest. What happens?
So the general rough value of a starter item is around 450 to 500 gold if you were just like sell it. So maybe you get an item, you're like,
you can walk and crave mechanics like that in these games. Yeah, it's the same.
So that's the alternate reward.
Some of the mechanics that they have in games like this.
Awesome, sounds great. All my MMO fans out there should get this really easy. Get the quest, complete the quest, get the loot for sure. Gilgamesh getting some immediate value at level 5 and 10 from these quests that are involved with this passive. And kind of the lore of Gilgamesh is he's got all these
it's only at level 5 and
so
10.
The passive definitely plays off of that. He's collecting the article.
I thought it was like more than one quest.
Battleground, but he's also got his Sunforged Scimitar as one of the artifacts that he's bringing along with him, his iconic weapon. Talk to me about Ability 1.
Yeah, so Gilgamesh, when he adventures, he finds all these artifacts throughout the story. And so this is an artifact that we've kind of imagined from the weaponry.
He was playing in PTS this weekend.
He has this weapon that's forged in the sun. And as such, it ignites with the heat of the sun. So you can see here, you have these smoldering embers on the sword towards the bottom. When you activate your 1, they're going to ignite and erupt into fire. And you can see his whole weapon is now basically this giant torch.
More warriors, less mages. I'm about that.
Are slowed, and Gilgamesh now
mages could use a little break.
Some extra
other classes need to catch up.
Targets, equal to his maximum health. So right now I believe it's equal to about 3.5% of his maximum health. So the more health you build, the more effective this actually becomes. And you can see here that as I keep attacking this Odin, the buff is still on me. It's staying on me. It actually extends in duration the more successful you are. So
imagine if Colonel's stances were like this.
For up to 12 seconds. So you can actually have this pretty much...
Like, they need to take his 1 and put it on Colonel's 1. Because my biggest complaint about Colonel's 1 stance and his ability to switch stances
I know, since we're talking about basic attacks, I'm not sure if Pon or AJ...
You know, the graphics are very subtle on it,
some new
and the effects are very subtle.
For these basic attacks to help out.
Attack speed, health build. I can definitely see this god being out of control on release.
Yeah,
go ahead.
So the basic attacks, a lot of our basic attacks
I'm
have
gonna make you play them.
animations.
Oh no, chocolate! Don't do that.
Can move in 8 directions and run. We sometimes have to do these 8-way splits essentially, and we lose a lot of that forward momentum. But the art team did a really good job here, where they've done new tech here to keep some of that forward animation as you're doing these 8-way movements. So you'll notice this as you're playing. These attacks just feel super smooth and feel super responsive, and that's due to the art.
Yeah, that was gonna be one of my comments. That I love how super smooth is looking.
It's just really fun to play with.
There's a lot of back-end tech art, very complex changes, and it's a subtle impact that you might feel, or if you're someone who's really interested in animation.
Yeah, incorporate these types of graphics on Colonel's 1.
We're really happy with how it's improved our gods animations, and we're going to be using it on future gods. So we're just really proud of our team for that. Even if maybe the lesser eye wouldn't spot it.
For sure, yeah. But yeah, these basics definitely look satisfying, but I have a feeling that Gilgamesh has an ability that's going to feel even more satisfying to land. Let's talk about Dropkick.
Yeah, Dropkick. This is...
Don't put me on this god release. I'm just going to be going running around the entire time, dropkicking people.
Cool. So Dropkick is
objectives? Nah, we're good. We're good, fam.
Dropkick an area in front of you, and you send them flying. If they collide with a god or a wall, they'll stun. So you can see here, let me send...
I really like the mechanic.
If I send this Odin into that other Odin, they both get stunned for the duration. So you can try and actually use this to hit multiple targets and stun multiple targets. Or you can just send them flying back.
I can see myself running around the entire time, drop kicking people.
There's a lot of stuff that you can do here. And it also, you can see here that if I just don't hold W, it has built-in forward momentum. So not only does this just make the weight of the ability feel really high, but like it lets you follow up. So here, I actually am in better position now to follow up off that stun than I would be otherwise. So it just helps the flow of the ability.
My question is, how does it interact with minions?
When you were showing us the kit earlier, this
like can you drop kick a minion into someone and stuns them, or
incorporated it into everything that we're doing. The trailer has a sick drop kick. I am so ready to hit people with it on the battleground.
Well, not necessarily
let's move on
impact
to
minions like
Heroes
that.
Advance, which is his 3 and going to be a movement ability for Gilgamesh.
Yep, so Heroes Advance is the main movement ability for Gilgamesh. He targets a ground location, and you can see it's quite a big area. It actually hits this whole area as well. But when you land, you have this field that gets created.
That
Now,
is so
for
cool.
allies outside of it, they'll see this as like a beacon of light. And as they run towards it, so you can see if I run out of here and start running towards it, I'll get some movement speed for running towards it. So this is your way as the warrior to jump into the middle of the enemy team and be like, hey teammates, we're fighting here right now. Everyone gets a boost of movement speed to get there, and then while they're inside of it, they get some of that movement speed, but they also get lifesteal equal to 10% plus a certain percentage of Gilgamesh's highest protection. So
oh yeah, this guy is about to be broken. This guy is about to be running all over people.
And for doing so, you get to provide some extra damage with your one, as well as some extra lifesteal to your teammates with the aura from the food.
I'm actually pretty excited for this god and
Heroes Advance. Let's go ahead and
getting the
talk
whole
about
tournament game.
the ultimate ability for Gilgamesh, Winds of Shamash.
So Shamash is someone who actually helps Gilgamesh in one of his main battles with Humbaba, a demon. He calls upon Shamash to bind the demon with his winds, and so he's calling down the winds again here. It's a range deployable circle that creates essentially a ring of wind. Targets who are inside of it take initial damage and are slowed. They take some wind damage over time, and then you can see at the end there, they're still in it. The winds kind of turn into these threads that end up binding them, rooting and crippling them if they stayed inside of it, causing them to take extra damage. But that's not quite all. So let's see if I can get this with Bot's Orbit. Oh, no, they don't want to behave. Unfortunately.
Those Yoda bots out here doing whatever they want to do.
I just spawn We're going to go over to the other lane, and I'm going to spawn enemy Gilgamesh. Also, his voice pack is great.
Wait,
like
there's more.
These abilities, the drop kick and the way we did the kind of King of the Ring.
I'm not sure if Iris is going to be more. I'm already in love with this guy.
Animation. He has sort of a professional wrestler vibe you'll get from a few of his animations that helps with his kind of confidence and bravado as a king. But then he's very driven and very.
He's just out here being extra at this point.
At the same time, which is just, I think, worked out really well.
But here you can see this wind wall. The outer walls actually slow you incredibly heavily. This is a 70% slow at maximum rank, and if Gilgamesh attacks you while you're inside that area, so it's
70%
like
slow,
a ring, but it's a soft ring. It doesn't actually fully lock your movement. If Gilgamesh attacks you while you're inside that,
will you make a solo roll?
Area of it,
I'm still gonna try to stay far away from the solo lane, but I definitely see myself.
And you can obviously combine this with
having Gilgamesh
send them back at you, so you get to bounce them off the edge of the ring. So Gilgamesh's whole game plan really is to cast this on a team and then use his attacks and damaging abilities to keep them inside that ring for as long as he can to make sure that they get.
But I'm not even sure if he's gonna be used in the solo lane.
Definitely.
Because this guy pretty much.
The vibes here, like
I mean, yeah, people are
professional
gonna pick him up and play him in the solo lane. But I can definitely see him being played in the jungle.
Gilgamesh being
pretty
aggressive. He's just all about
being pretty effective in the jungle.
Really straightforward.
He is, right?
A little bit about what we've been seeing in playtest in terms of playstyle and where Gilgamesh is kind of landing in Conquest.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes
I definitely can see him making Hades way more viable.
We've tried support, we've tried solo, and we've tried jungle. Early on, his damage was very high.
Because if you have the Hades ult on top of his ult,
balance for him, he's really found his home in the solo lane. He's very effective at boxing out opponents in lane. Really
I don't think he's gonna be. I mean, he's good for solo lane, but I think he's gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lot more of him in the jungle.
Tower or send them away from the wave. The one because of the way the cooldown works, where when you activate it,
especially if you have him taking quests,
it goes on cooldown immediately. So as you're using the stim, you can be getting the cooldown available for it again to use it.
High res.
Very effective boxer if they try and actually trade with you. So I would expect to see him mostly in the solo lane, maybe a little bit of flex into the jungle role, but his support.
On top of Morgan. Warrior mid later. Hell, Warrior mid later. Put him in the carry role. Put him in the support role.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
He can go anywhere.
So lots of different things to play with here.
We love the basic attack focus from him. We have, that's something that a warrior hasn't brought new to the game in a little while. It does give him some flex potential as well. Potentially he could.
I can definitely see his still being an issue to deal with too.
Solo lane. If you use that leap, which
is having that be on cooldown and counting down while you're using it, and pretty much is already always going to be up.
3-1 combo to just clear the lane really effectively, and then you're getting a lot of swings in, so you always have a lot of uptime on that scimitar. So he plays great in both roles, honestly. and he's just a very fun god who does like, who just gets up in the mix. Really, that's what warriors are really designed to do, and Gilgamesh does that very well.
Nice. Well, he will definitely be jumping in head first in 8-4.
On a scale of Tiamat to Ardio, how broken do y'all think this god is going to be?
Well, that just about does it for the kit. But of course, we want to show off, all the recolors and take a listen to the voice pack for Gilgamesh that we've got going on. I believe the first recolor that we want to show off is the standard recolor for Gilgamesh, and it is going to be Crimson King, and I love the card art.
Why isn't this the original skin?
It's super dope. What do you think, AJ?
Like, throw the other skin in the garbage. Just have this skin.
We had a lot of really cool colors for Gilgamesh. We had like
he'll be a super busted. On release, he was
kind of this like red magenta kind of color, which just it feels very royal.
I still have nightmares to this day about Ardio. Between her and Bear 70, those are two guys that created me the most grief on release.
Be able to have a turnaround here for this recolor as well.
I can just take all my money
for it.
Are we going to be going back into the conquest map at any point, Isaiah?
Yeah, now Ardio's.
But is there anything interesting that you wanted to show off?
Ardio's
one more thing on the conquest map that I forgot.
Oh man, Cthulhu release
during the conquest.
Cthulhu was annoying as hell. Also,
let's see if production
Pawn is still in the match, and he could switch to a god like Cthulhu for me.
Cthulhu almost caused me as much grief as Ardio did.
We will see.
If Cthulhu had the same sustain that Ardio did, and was able to sustain for
go to the jungle.
There we go.
All right, so we have another
his team like Ardio did. Cthulhu would definitely be on the level of.
We also have
Ardio.
New foliage.
You mojo for me. Your mojo wasn't that bad for me.
Activate your ultimate.
Forgot to bring this up.
The trees will disappear around you, and as
thank you, Hi-Res.
That are going to be in your ultimate's range, they will start to dissolve away. So no longer will players be able to hide in fear under the trees while you chase them down. This will work off. This works off of the god's height. So any god that raises into a height above the trees will give them a vision radius. And if the higher they go, the larger it goes. So you can't really notice this as much with Thor because you can't move at the same time. But when you go up in the air as Thor, all of the trees within your targeting area will be invisible.
Yeah, it's like in one instance, I kind of like, being able to hide under trees and
like
that little mystery from up above.
Also even continue looking to tweak the
on another instance
to maybe even
it was annoying to deal with whenever like you're someone like specifically Apollo and trying to
walking around, right? But that's not currently in this update.
Pinpoint where people are at or people are at in the jungle.
But yeah, that's a really big feature.
They must have heard you. I think they were listening to me.
Definitely.
I think that global alts are really, really strong, and
they know my hate for Cthulhu.
Being able to hide behind rocks and things should be a part of mechanic of the game. But the trees were maybe just pushing that into the frustration territory and not the balance territory. So we went ahead.
I mean, if there wasn't as much trees, okay, I wouldn't mind the trees blocking vision.
They also came up with this one, and it's just beautiful. So
I know. Definitely shout outs to the team, and just another way,
because I actually would like that element from up above.
To the conquest,
but there's a whole bunch of trees in the jungle.
Changing, visually and on the tech side as well, which is awesome. But I got word from production that we do have the Crimson King turnaround.
Hell no, I mainly made in that god Cthulhu.
That super cool model here for the standard recolor. There we go. This is Crimson King.
This just needs to be his main skin and call it a day.
Listen to the voice pack before
this needs to be his only skin and call it a day.
Colors and the mastery skins.
Fresh land ready for a strong
I think it was like the same case with Heim. He had a crimson skin and it was better than his regular skin.
That's dope. And Pon, you hit the nail right on the head. That voice pack is sick. I love the tie into the passive and
yo, that legendary skin is going to be pretty dope.
And finding these artifacts and relics and gaining some new items. The next recolor that we have that we want to talk about is actually the Season Pass 2021 recolor. We've got Ascended Gilgamesh going to be coming up here. So if you've picked up that Season Pass 2021, you'll be able to unlock this limited recolor.
I'm not buying that Season Pass.
Gilgamesh goes live.
The Season Pass included the Battle Pass with it.
I love Tiamat.
I'll probably consider it.
He's got a nice slash that he
tier 5 confirmed
as well. And this is
could you imagine if he had actually got a tier 5 official release? Okay.
There you go.
Throw away that first skin. The crimson skin and this skin needs to be the only skin that he needs to have.
Made a good sense as a recolor for him, but I think his default is the most historical. But then we explored a few.
These are the only two skins that matter. Throw away his default skin.
His card art for the mastery, I'm really big fan of. Because
Yeah,
obviously
I
the
know.
color choice for mastery. We don't have a lot of flexibility on the color choice for mastery, but we did get.
Oh, I
get a
hope
little
so,
creative with
Chocolate.
card art, which I really love.
Definitely, he's definitely
Yeah, that's
flexing
my
on
favorite
him.
card art.
I know,
Nice.
right?
Give me
go ahead and
$100
take a look at the
actual
card art
playing
for
game.
the mastery skin. Watch the throne, everybody.
gosh.
He is
He's the
just here
king.
chilling. That is
Legs wide
Look,
open.
he looks like he
Oh,
wants
God.
to get out and adventure so bad.
He's staring
He's
right
like,
into his
"Oh, why did
crotch."
I have to come to this meeting.
I know,
that's
right?
too
On
The
many
main
story
focal
of my
point
life,
of this
dude.
picture is crotch because of that goddamn lie.
Zoom calls, Google Hangouts. I definitely feel you, Gilgamesh. This
There's
one
every
turned
moment
out
where
great.
Anthony is like, "Hey, maybe we shouldn't go fight Humbaba." And Gilgamesh is
That's
like, "No,
ready.
He's gonna go. He's
Right?
He
Yeah.
doesn't have much movements early on.
They definitely had his crotch right
So this is
in your
the
face.
golden, and then the
He's dirty,
legendary,
yeah.
the black and gold, my favorite. I gotta say it every update show. This one looks sick, and I believe we'll
One of
have
my
the diamond
favorites,
here in just
The
a
black and gold isn't
second
too
to look
bad.
at. I'm loving it. Oh, I love the treatment on the weapon there for the diamond.
These
skin as
diamond
well.
skins are always a hit or miss.
All right, guys. Well, that is Gilgamesh. That is the king of Uruk. Any final words on Gilgamesh before we close out the
I'm
show?
about Gilgamesh. Give it to me now.
I mean, it was super fun to work on this character. It's such a historical figure, being able to like explore what he could do in Smite, making this kind of like lean, straightforward warrior
My
character.
suit rave.
Was like super.
Like if you give me
satisfying.
legendary,
It's
I'll be
doing
perfectly happy with that.
PTS, which hopefully will be at some point soon.
Yes.
Friday.
PTS on Friday.
PTS on Friday. And new Conquest on Friday.
Friday.
No, I'm
Friday
really
too.
excited.
Lots
for
of
the
exciting
Conquest
stuff.
So we're playing
Yeah, I'm really
Gilgamesh on
excited
Friday.
for the Conquest updates. You know, we did a new map, and we were like, "What's a new thing we can do on top of a new map?" And like, what if that new map kept
Does PTS
feeling
going?
new the whole year? And you know, we just did a brand new map, so I mean, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I think this is probably one of the smaller of the changes. The ones we have planned for the rest of this year, I think, are bigger each time.
Holy crap.
And have, you know, bigger gameplay impacts and more art changes and stuff like that. So I don't know. This one is pretty cool, but this one is just getting started. You know, this one is just some pathing, some routing, some movement stuff. But we've got
I didn't think of
new
that, Chocolate.
objective ideas. We've got new mechanic ideas. We've
We
got
have to
other
check 'em out
artistic
Friday.
ideas. You know, we've got some really cool stuff that we're working on. but
We'll put those
that's
cannons away,
just,
bud.
that's
I'm sorry,
gonna be
Rave.
The whole year is going to be like that.
I tried to have my cannons
Just get
out,
ready
but
for more cool stuff.
they wanted to experience the sun today.
I know. Lots
It's so
of
beautiful
exciting
out, and I
stuff
needed
coming
to
in Smite
take
season
out my
8.
cannons for a little
Keep
while
playing
to
and keep
expose
joining
them a
us
little
on
bit of
these
sun.
update shows as we break it all down for you. Thanks everybody for tuning in. PTS on Friday. We'll see everybody on the next one.
That was about an hour and a half, or hour and 15 minutes, really. Not too bad of a show.